Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and so far Shadowlands have been a blast of an expansion. I mean, right now I have 3 characters leveled over on the NA servers, and as of today, I should be starting my EU character so we can get back to the 5-5 1v1 duels. I think it's fair to say that Shadowlands is a very different expansion compared to Battle for Azeroth, compared to Legion. While there are some things that are similar, like retail WoW versus classic WoW, there is some big core changes that have happened in this expansion. And in this video, I'm going to go over some of these changes, because there have been some fundamental changes to how things work in this expansion, and a lot of you guys have been confused when it comes to you popping to the streams or me reading some of the comments and how things work. So let's dispel some questions that some of you might have had in how things work in this expansion, as some of the core systems and the way we should approach the game are gonna have to fundamentally change. So let's take a look at 5 ways Shadowlands is different. First things first, the only thing that the game expects out of you with this expansion in terms of the weekly gains and daily gains compared to Battle for Azeroth is your Renown. You are required and should be getting your Renown capped every single week. And that's really about it, which has contributed to players feeling a little bit aimless in terms of, okay, I got to max level, what do I do next? What do I have to do? Compared to Battle for Azeroth, there's really nothing you have to do in this expansion. I guess if you want to raid, you should get some gear. If you want to PvP, you should get some PvP gear with versatility, some PvP trinkets, get some experience maybe. All these basic things make sense, but the fact is the game doesn't really hold your hand anymore, because in the past it used to tell you, hey, do your islands, hey, do your world quest, hey, you got an emissary, go do your emissary. It kind of give you a checklist of things to do. But now that you're playing Shadowlands, there's a little bit more hands-off approach, which is going to be weird and a lot for us to get used to. Technically, the only thing the game wants you to do is cap your Renown, which is why it's going to give you so much catch-up mechanisms if you do fall behind. But what you do from there, it really is up to you, which is a weird but a cool new feeling. Next thing, world quests. These have changed tremendously. Going into this expansion from Battle for Azeroth, world quests are now a lot more, well, some people described it harder, some people described it take longer, some have described it as more involved. Whether you describe it as any of those words, yes, world quests are all those things. They are more involved. Usually you have to do more than just to go kill 10 of these, go interact with 5 of these, and then go talk to this guy and play some minigame or whatever. Instead, they really do take some time. Blizzard in the past have talked about how they wanted to make world quests more involved and wanted to make them their own progression path. So when you get out and you decide, what am I going to do for the day? Do you want to do dungeons and grind some AP, get some gear? Do you want to jump into battlegrounds, maybe even arena skirmishes before the season begins? Or do I want to go do world quests? And Blizzard is kind of trying to make world quests its own thing. In the past expansion, we had to do world quests as like a beginner stepping stone. First you will go do some world quests and get your emissary, and then you can go do dungeons and PvP or whatever it may be. But world quests became a lot less in this expansion of a stepping stone chore. First, you don't need to get your emissaries done technically. There are callings in the game and they can be acquired through different ways without even having to do world quests in some cases, maybe looting treasure chests, doing dungeons, slaying rares, but not exactly world quests in its own. So the next time you are doing some world quests, ask yourself, well, why am I doing this world quest? Are you trying to get some AP? Couldn't you just do some dungeons to get AP from that method? I mean, there's lots of different ways of playing the game now. And if world quests are going to be their own progression, wouldn't you rather spend your time in other bits of content? As it looks like that's how Blizzard wants players to approach world quests versus other content. Next thing, Warmode bonuses. In the last expansion, everybody ran with Warmode, especially if you're on a horde, and it looks like a lot of Alliance are getting into Warmode right now. But currently, again, I guess this kind of goes together with world quests, Warmode bonuses for turning on Warmode are really not all that existent. There are some things that give you an extra bonus with Warmode. A little bit extra gold is never a bad idea. Maybe a little bit extra Stygia from the mob, but besides that, AP, which will be used for not even player progression now, but rather for your order hall, your sanctum hall, you don't actually get any bonuses. So turning on Warmode right now feels a little bit weird. In fact, turning on Warmode really goes back to its roots. You want to face other players. You want to play against other players. You are looking for those PvP encounters. You decide to do PvP encounters. In the last expansion, everybody turned on Warmode because it felt like, well, you're going to miss out on a lot of these rewards, but with this expansion, the rewards are not really nearly as massive unless you're just a gold fiend and you need every bit of gold from every world quest because, you know, you need them consumables for dungeons and raids later, but it changes things a little bit. If you want a war mode and you want a PvP, you can, and you add this flavor to your open world experience if you wish. Or you don't have to, and the loss of it isn't really all that massive, which allows players that want to PvP opportunity to PvP instead of making players have to PvP. Then we also have Legendaries, and I've gotten a billion questions on how Legendaries work this expansion, so hopefully this video will help dispel a lot of the questions. Legendary recipes can be gotten from a variety of different activities. For my rogue, for example, I have one legendary recipe that drops off of a world boss, which is not going to happen anytime soon. A couple of my legendaries are from the new raid. A couple of my legendaries are from dungeons, and one or two are from Torghast, at least on the Outlaw side of the gameplay. So there's a lot of different legendaries and have different drops from different things. Some are locked behind renown and reputation with certain factions, and others are locked behind things like PvP. So there's a variety of different ways to unlock these legendaries, and what you're unlocking is the recipe. Once you know the recipe for that legendary, you know it forever, because in this expansion we're not getting RNG drops of legendaries, instead we craft them. You learn the recipe, and then now you need the items to craft it. Crafting for legendaries is going to happen in the next few weeks, as we will be able to finally craft our Legos, but essentially you can find all the stuff to craft a Lego, even though it might be a little bit expensive at first, on the auction house. You need yourself an armor token for your class, so as a rogue I wear leather, so I need a leather token for a chest, shoulders, gloves, whatever it may be, and then I need to make sure I have this recipe already learned for the legendary. Then I need 2 scrolls of secondary stats, which I'll get to choose which secondary stats this legendary is going to go on, and every legendary has 2 pieces of gear it can be on. So if I have my best in slot legendary, I can choose to put it on my shoulders or on a ring. So as you gear on your character, you'll realize, oh, I don't really have that great of rings. Slap that bad boy legendary on a ring and then forget about it. Never have to think about getting that piece of gear until later, where in future patches of the expansion, you'll just simply be able to upgrade that legendary to a higher item level. Unlike Legion legendaries, which were completely RNG slot machine, these are a lot more consistent. So hopefully the Shadowlands legendaries will give you guys a better taste in the palate than what the Legion legendaries might have in the previous expansions. There was a lot of people concerned about legendaries coming back, and they remembered Legion. It's not going to be like Legion. And finally, I've gotten a lot of questions about how the conduits work and why sometimes you're getting the conduits for a wrong spec. Conduits and gear inside of dungeons as well as in raids are on different loot tables. Random pieces of gloves, weapons, trinkets are on one loot table. And depending on which spec you set your loot table for, like Enhancement Shaman, it'll try to drop you those powerful fists, axes, agility trinkets, and much more. However, the conduits are on a separate loot table. That means that every single boss that you fight, if you can get from the boss gear as well as a conduit, it has one of 4 different things that could happen. It can either give you a no gear, it can either give you the conduit but no loot, it can either give you loot but no conduit, or the final scenario of both. It gives you the conduit as well as a piece of gear. Since both of those are not mutually exclusive and are on different loot tables, you can get a variety of different drops from every boss. Now you also might have noticed that sometimes the game gives you the wrong conduit. You'll say you want to play Enhanced, but it keeps giving you Restoration Shaman conduit. It's not really the game telling you that you should play Resto, although you should give it a go. Some updates have been done for the spec, but every single boss has a conduit, or just about every single boss has a conduit that can drop from them. And usually you have the conduit for one spec only. So every time you do the boss, you have a chance to drop a conduit for that one specific spec. So if you do get a bunch of conduits from different specs, that's not the game trying to lead you in another direction of spec you want to play, but it's rather just the game kind of dropping you an extra bonus loot. But do remember that this does not replace your normal loot, it's on a whole completely different loot table, so it's not like you lost on piece. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, hope you enjoyed. Shadowlands is looking like a very different expansion, and I cannot wait for the seasonal stuff to begin very soon. Thank you all so much for watching, I hope you guys enjoyed, hopefully this answered a couple of your questions, and I'll see all of you guys in another video.